tutorial here on how to build a switch jQuery plugin, browser switch. So pretty much what it's going to do, it's going to execute a line of code, a line of JavaScript code based on what browser we've our user is using. So a couple things here to note. We're going to avoid using the switch statement because I'm reading this amazing book called The Programmatic Programmer, which is amazing if you want to be a better programmer. I definitely suggest you read it. And one of the things that it argues is that you want to make your code very testable. And one of the things that they do is they avoid using a switch statement, because switch statements are very, when they're not, they can be very, I don't know, very hard to read and very, I don't know, just read the book, it'll tell you. Anyway, so that's what we're going to do. And before I start the tutorial, just if I'm fairly new at this, you know, I've been doing it for a while, but I'm actually starting to get paid to do it, so I guess I'm an entry-level programmer. And if you see something that I should do different, something that can be done better, please, by all means, leave it in the comments below. You know, make a video, you know, in response. I'm all for that. You know, trying to build up on each other's, you know, learn from each other. That's what it's all about, right? So that's what what these tutorials are going to be all about. So let's get started here. So all I pretty much have is I have a folder with a couple of things in here. I have your index, which is what you're seeing, JavaScript. This is where we're going to put our JavaScript in our library with the latest version of jQuery, which in this case it's 1.9, I believe. Yeah, 1.9. Okay, so this is my switch JavaScript. All I added here is just a little document.ready, which is pretty much the same thing as an onload if you put it on the body. And it works great, but we don't need it. So we're going to start a jQuery plugin here. And so let's go ahead. I think I have a cutout here of what we're going to use to speed things up here. So I'm just going to go ahead and paste it in here. And so I'm going to take that out. So pretty much what you want to do is when you build one of these things, you know, you don't want to cram everything in here. You build an object up here, and it's in here. You're going to have a bunch of different helper functions. It's going to be a pseudo class because JavaScript doesn't support actual classes. So what we're going to do is we're going to write some notes here. So first things first, we're going to do our init. That's what's going to be executed when it's built. Then we're going to have a series of functions will be executed, excuse my spelling, based on what browser. And then here we're going to have a function or method, you can call it method when it's inside a class or object, that will determine, again, bad spelling, determines what browser or navigator, we should say, navigator, the user is using. And then I'll show you, we're going to use the regular expression to do that. Okay. So we're going to say init. We're going to use this literal object, so function. Right, and then these are just going to be a bunch of different, and then we just say what browser. Okay. So first things first, the way our application here is going to flow is it's going to determine So first things first, we have to let it determine what browser it's using. So what browser, and then it's going to return the actual name of the browser, right? So okay, so now let's jump down to this one here. So in order to find out, JavaScript has a couple of things built into it. So let's see. And the window object actually stores that. So let's see here. We'll alert. Here, and then we're going to alert the name, and then we'll just do this here. Let's see what happens here. So we're going to change the name of this. We're going to say browser switch. And then we're just going to, for now we're going to make that a standalone function, so we're going to take that off. We're going to say, so alert, and just do methods dot init. And actually we don't need to make an alert because it already alerts there. So then we go back to our header over here, and then we put what did I call it? We call it like browser. We need to do that when the body loads. Of course it didn't work. Oh, commas. Yeah, you might want to, really important to put those in there. There we go. Alright, so what was wrong is that when you're doing object literal, you gotta separate them with commas. So, don't be a noob. Alright, so as you can see, this Navigator method here returns a huge string, right? And it's not always going to be consistent. So like, let me open up Firefox here. But we can use that to our advantage when we build our method, when we build out our function here. So check this out. So right, so the message here is not exactly the same, right? It's not formatted the same. But what we can always count on, though, is it's going to have Safari. It's going to have the actual word Safari in it. In this case, it's going to have the actual word Firefox in it, right? And then let me hit OK here, and let me open Chrome, and then open that page up. And then as you can see here, it's going to have Chrome here. In this case, it's the first one, right? That one had Safari for some weird reason. It's using the same rendering engine as Safari, but ultimately it's Chrome. So, and for Windows, I think it's WIE or something like that. I can't remember. I have a virtual box here that we'll use. Actually, I don't think I have it installed on here. Well, Windows, whatever pops up, who cares? You'll be able to implement it yourself later. Let's do Opera. Let's see what Opera uses. Okay, so Opera. and of course, see, it's the first one. Okay, very cool. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to make a regular expression that's going to search for any one of those names, that for any one of those browsers that we want to support. So for example, so here we're going to store this in nav for Navigator, right? And now we're going to search, we're going to make a regular expression, so we're going to say bar. Actually, let's just make our, you want to make your variables very descriptive, so we're going to call this search for, and then we're going to say, we're going to look for Safari or Chrome or Opera. Those are the three browsers we're going to search for. So then JavaScript has this awesome method built into it called search. So let me make sure I'm going to use it right here. So we're going to put, we're going to search nav, right? That's the information that's returning, and we're going to type in search. We're going to put in our regular expression that we have here. And then it supports a callback function. Let me see here. Let me see if I can remember exactly how this. You know what? Let's try match instead of search. And it returns an array, I believe, so. Ah, there we go. Okay, cool. So I forgot to capitalize my stuff. Okay, so I did a couple things wrong here. So first thing I did wrong was I used a search, which I'm sure there's a fancy way of doing callbacks for that. Instead we should have done match, and what it's going to do, it's going to return the actual match itself. Instead, since we don't have it set to global, it only returns one. And in this case, we have Safari first, so it should return. Actually, watch what's going to happen here. It should mess up on Chrome. It should return Safari. If it doesn't, it's a happy accident. Oh well, happy accident. Great. Cool. So it returns the first, whichever one's first. So in that case, Chrome. If you remember, it said Chrome before Safari, so it returned Chrome. So we're safe there. Opera, or actually we don't have Firefox on there. That's not Firefox. Let's see here. Oops. Did I delete Chrome? There we go. Firefox, Chrome. Cool, so checking this out, right? So every browser that I've supported, let's say I don't put Opera in there, what's going to happen? It should return null. Great. So here is the list of supported browsers. Okay. So we can't have null. So if it returns null, that means that it's not on the list, obviously, right? So let's do an if statement here. So if browser is equal to null, then return, and we're just going to say other, right? Otherwise it's just going to return the browser. So let's remove Opera from our supported list here, and we should get other. And we sure do. Cool. But we are going to support Opera for now. Okay, cool. So now that we have the actual names of the browsers returning based on what browser it is, our instinct would naturally be to do something like this, right? We'd probably go something switch, and then we'd put name. So the switch statement would look something like this. Yeah, so I was doing it right. Okay, so it'd be like that, right? And then here would be the name, and then you'd probably do something like this. So case, you'd be Safari, and then execute here, right? And then break, right? And then case, Chrome, and then some code here, break, and then you'd say default, and then this is what happens if you don't, if it doesn't satisfy any of these values here, you would do some code here, right? And you don't have to do a break statement there because that's the last one, right? So the reason why you put break statements here is to let it know, hey, that's it, we're not going to add any more code, otherwise it'll continue going through these here if it satisfies any of these. So as you can see, you can probably add functions there, and it'd be very, very messy, right? You do some code here, whatever you want to execute. Of course, there's another way of doing this. Oh, it's going to be really cool without using this icky switch statement. So what you want to do is, if you can actually execute a function based on a name that you provide from a string, right? So in this case, name is a string. So we can say methods, and then if you put it in these brackets here, you put name. And now you can create functions here. So you can say Safari, right? We can say like this, right? Execute code for Safari. You can say Chrome. Execute, start function, right? Execute code for Chrome. Here we could say Firefox. And then again, execute code for Firefox. And then of course, if we don't support it, we rigged it to return other. And let's keep it consistent. I'm gonna make it a capital letter here. Other function, and execute code for non-supported browsers. Okay. So let's see here. Let's just make it spit out an alert here. And then we'll just say Safari. And I'm going to just copy and paste this here. And, oops, other Firefox and Chrome. Okay. And let's remove Opera, just so that we know that other works too. Again, how embarrassing, I'm sorry. Alright, let's try that again. Gotta add these. Alright, cool, see? So that one's for Safari. By the way, I forgot these guys right here. Right? Safari, cool. And this one should return other. And it didn't. Did I not capitalize it? We'll get back to that one. See what's going on there. Let's see, but Firefox. Firefox, good. And finally, Chrome. Let's look for Chrome here. Chrome. Okay, let's see why it's not returning other. What in the world? Why isn't it returning? It is null. Obviously, it's... Safari, Chrome, Firefox, other. If browser. Let's force it to alert. Name. Let's see why it's not returning. So. Is my logic wrong here? If browser is equal to null, return other. That was weird, wasn't it working earlier? Oops. Let's make Safari the odd one out. Maybe we can spit out. Well, that's weird. Works on Safari. Damn it, I'm going to find out why it's not doing it on Opera. Is it the alerts are... Oh, well, now you do it. Huh, what was going on there? Let's remove it from you, and you should return other. Other. Well, there you have it, folks. Opera. That's Opera for you. Okay, so Safari. Cool. All right. So, as you can see, Opera's going to be our odd one out for now. As you can see, it should now bust out an alert. Now it's doing it here, so you can believe me, I'll add a 1 there. Cool. And then let's go back to Opera here. Make sure it's executing the 1 there. And it is. So, there you have it. So you can see now, based on the actual browser type, it is executing a function. All right, so there you go, right? I mean, you can come in here and actually build out different sets of code here, and write what you want it to do based on this tiny little function, and it's actually a lot more manageable. A couple things that we can do. To make this easier to use is you can probably put options up here, and then you can probably say reg x browsers, and then just copy this over here, and that's going to be our the browsers that we support, and then up here, that way you don't have to dig all the way down through the code, because eventually this is probably going to get really populated based on what you want to do. Of course, we want to make this as generic as possible, so we'll probably make this do different stuff so that you can make it generic. And I know I'm talking gibberish here, but let me update this here so we can go methods.options dot regx browsers, and that should still work now. And of course it doesn't work. Why would it work? Oh, I keep forgetting that comma, man. I don't know why. Okay, cool. There it works again. Okay, cool. So I'm going to show you guys something really cool. So what we want to do is, when we actually implement this guy right here, we want to be able to pass it options, right? And we want it to have a couple of you know, first things first, we want to be able to use this browser switch a bunch of different times. We don't want to have to rebuild a browser switch for every other little thing that we want to do. So we want to give it we want to make it execute a function that we tell it to based on what browser to execute, right? So I'm sorry, based on what browser. So first things first, let's build the default function. So here are in the options menu, we're going to build out some default stuff here. So we're going to say other. So we're going to say so then here we're going to say so for other, we're going to say function, and then this is just going to be a generic function for right. That will be executed. And then here we're going to add our other browsers here. So Safari, right? Make sure that one's there. Chrome, Firefox, and we're just gonna leave Opera as the odd one out. Okay. So then here, we don't even have to. You don't even have to write this out anymore, since we're not gonna use these. So let me see what I'm gonna do. So then here we can just go options dot execute methods, and then we do our bracket thing, and put name, and then we do these guys here, and then boom, we don't even need this anymore. What did I do here? Methods. Oh. Yeah, we need to give. There we go. And your browser is not supported. Good. So let's make sure that we know that it's executing the right thing. So you are using Safari. And then here we're going to say you're using Chrome, and here you're using Firefox. You're using Safari, good. You're using a browser that's not supported, good, that's Opera. And you're using Firefox, cool. All right. We want to make this thing as easy as possible to use, and that would mean that on top of them having to actually write out these methods here, they're gonna have to update this regex browser. So let's make a function that will actually build out a regular expression based on what they've added on here. Okay, so we'll call this one build regex, and then builds out a regex based on what browsers they want to support. So all we have to do, I handle the merging of the options. So where are we going to put our options? So we're going to put it here, and then we're going to pass them through here. So over here, I spelled that wrong. So over here we got to update our parameters. So we need to merge options, right? Obviously, so that whatever the user, whatever our person who's going to use this switch, we need their options to come first. So dot. So we're going to overwrite this one. So methods dot options. And you know what? Since let's get rid of this and let's get rid of that, since we're not going to do the regex anymore. And then we can actually just get rid of that there. So now you're just going to call it directly without having to traverse it. So method options, and then equals, and then since it's a global variable, we don't have to say var. And then we're going to use the jQuery extend, like so. And then, so it's going to go from left to right. So we're going to say methods and then options. So this one will be merged into that one. So whatever's in here will overwrite whatever's in there. Okay. Very simple. So now we have our default stuff here, and then whatever the user decides, that will be their whatever the user decides to be executed will be put in there and will be overwritten. Okay. Let's see, Safari. Chrome, Firefox. There we go. Okay. Oh man. Let's get rid of these commented out things so I don't get confused here. Okay. So now we just got to build a now that it's working again. Now we got to build a function here that will build out a regex for us. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the each method that jQuery has. We're going to say methods dot regex dot options, right? And then we're going to say function. And then we're going to say key. Okay. So then here, regex. So that's what's going to hold our string. So for each key, I'm going to say regex, and we should probably, well, we'll see if it messes up. We're going to say key plus that. We should set methods options dot regex equal to, and then we're going to create we're going to make a regular expression out of it. Okay, cool. So, and then all you do, we're going to convert this. We have to trim this though. Okay, so essentially what's going to happen is this guy right here is going to loop through this right here, right? And this is a bad idea. Let's get rid of that there. And the key, right? So this is the key. It's going to create a string. Essentially, it's going to look like this. So regex, by the time it's executed, it's going to look like this. It's going to look other. It's going to say Safari. It's going to say Chrome, right? Well, other, we shouldn't, we should take away other, because we don't want it to recognize other. So here we could say, so if key does not equal other. Cool. Okay, so yeah, that's what it's gonna do, and now we're going to say regex will equal new. Actually, we need to. So what this is gonna do? It's gonna have a pipe at the end of it. So we gotta trim right. In JavaScript, the best way to do it is to just to do a replacement. So so regex equals regex dot replace, and then we'll do some quick here regular expression, the last one, and I think we need to comp that out like that. That should work, right? Let's see. Ah, damn it. Well, let's just hope it works. Okay, and then finally, x equals new, and we're gonna convert the string to an actual regular expression, and then that's it. That should do it. This. Oh, well, no shizer. Come on, Phil. There we go. I'm really sorry about that. I totally forgot to put in what to replace it with. Alright, so, but hey. You're using Safari. Great, 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 great. We are where we want to be now. Cool. Alright, so let's get to these alerts. They're going to get really annoying really fast. So find the alerts. And if you use if you develop a lot with what do you call it, Chrome or Firefox, you can actually, instead of doing alerts, you can do console and JavaScript console, I think. And pretty much it'll spit it out. It'll spit it out in this section right here for Fire. I don't know if it does it on on Safari, but for Firefox and Chrome it does. But let me find where I put all these alerts at. I think I got rid of them. Okay, cool. All right. So the only alerts that are popping up are the actually these right here. So if we remove this from here, then no browser will be supported. Now what? What do I do? Oh, yeah. Safari, and then browser's not supported. So theoretically, if I remove this from here, no browser should be supported, right? Of course not. So let's see what it's trying. Let's see what it's spitting out if no browser is supported. Nothing. So that's why we have to put or keep, actually not in there, on here, null, or browser does not, or if browser is equal to blank string. There we go. So let's remove this alert here. And done. So no browsers are supported right now. Cool. So now all we have to do, so this puppy's ready to be generic, right? It can be it can be used on anything now for. Okay, so so say for example, now we can put in the options over here. Or you know what, you can even just do it here in a little bit more traditional jQuery. And you can say Safari. And let's put let's do something funny. Let's do body CSS background color red. What did I do? Oh, we're supposed to be string. Well, that's not cool. It's not supposed to do that. Oh, well, remember this one. Because it has it in both. That's not very healthy. And then we're gonna say green for you. Okay. Hell, let's support Opera. It's been left out. Did I not spell something right here? No, that's fine. I tell you. There we go. Haha, not the prettiest colors, but hey, it works, right? Alright, so obviously there's a couple of things that are wrong with this, and it's one, Chrome, if we don't support it, it'll do whatever Safari does, and that's because of the way our code is set up here. Remember earlier, it does that because it's looking for Safari or Chrome. So, and in the description, it has both for some reason. So that's why that does that. So we can probably rig up some code. I'll do that in another video. If you want to see it, if you want to see me detail the crap out of it. But if not, I'll post a download link for you guys, and you can download this jQuery plugin and build on it, make it amazing. Thank you for watching, everybody.